The Montreal Canadiens had it in their hands and they let it slip in an absolute battle in LaBelle province. And this is going to raise a lot of interesting questions for hockey fans, both on the Capital side, the Habs side, and just fans at large that were watching this series. They got a notice from the league, stop the brouhaha, the bench clearing brawls. I get it wasn't really a brawl, but these guys are really taking liberties with each other. This is feeling like an old-timey hockey series. The interesting challenge we're going to talk about today, and we've been talking about it in reference to the Habs and the Capitals since my playoff prediction video weeks ago and my hockey ranking videos weeks ago, and that's that the youth and the lack of playoff experience from Montreal may get dragged into the mud, and the gamesmanship of the Washington Capitals and the grizzled veterans on the team. And that's just what happened here. The Cinderella story is halted for now because of the grizzled play of the Washington Capitals, led by Tom Wilson, followed up by Alexander Ovechkin. The first big story going into this game was going to be Jacky and Anderson, Wilson and Ovechkin. Why do I include Ovechkin in there? Ovechkin's a real tough customer. That boy lays more body than anyone on that team. But all eyes were going to be on how people would handle Tom Wilson. And you've heard me speak of Tom Wilson multiple times. He's an absolute X factor in the playoffs. He can change a series by himself. And if you get him off his game, if you turn him into a psychopath, because he can see red, the man can be a bull. The matador with the red cape can get him running out of control. You just may be able to get him off his game enough that he'll take a dumb penalty and you can capitalize. That happened today. Gallagher was under his skin. Anderson was under his skin with an absolutely massive hit. Jacky was having none of it. It looked like for 2.5 periods, they had Wilson and the Capitals' number. It looks like Montreal wasn't going to fall for the Washington Capitals games. Ovechkin, unclean hit to Jake Evans. Didn't see it coming. 2 minutes? I don't know. We all know that we could spend weeks here talking about the referees on both sides, but I've said it many times. I'll stick to it. The playoffs is about winning in between the rules. Teams that are dirtier, teams that know how to get it done at the fringes of the call and not take penalties are going to be the ones that win it. And Washington is a master of that. And I say that as a full compliment to that team. Excellent job. Do I think that's the way hockey should be played? Nah. And I don't think anyone from Montreal feels that way either. Grizzled hockey was carved out in the frigid cold of Quebec. It just feels better when you win and it's your team doing it. That being said, though, they had Tom Wilson. And then that hit on Carrier. This one, you know the one I'm talking about. He moves the puck up the wall and he gets absolutely exploded by Wilson. Just rammed into the boards. And this right here, this is Tom Wilson's game. He's an absolute predator. He is out there to lay body. He's out there to change series. And what that hit does here is it opens up time and space for the Capitals. The team that gets their bell rung usually gets rattled to the point where goals go in and it breaks you. I know we all like to watch the hockey movies and the stories about how the underdog comes back after getting rung. Doesn't happen as often as our bias may think it does. That quick little play flipping in causes a quick change. We go swiping at the puck. It's no good. We lay a hip check. It's no good. Dobe is on his own. Great first save. Caufield coming back like a bat out of heck, but it's an unfortunate bounce between his legs, and it ends up in the back of the net. Now, whatever your opinion is of the hit, how hockey should or shouldn't be played, that is the frustrating thing about being a fan. And Washington fans will agree with this too. You really can't get a read on what anything is in hockey. And I said it before, I'll say it again, guys. It's because every rule says at the referee's discretion. I don't know why they want this. And I always have an argument. I think this is why the game doesn't grow. It's very hard for those who haven't grown up with the game to really understand what is going on. I mean, the penalties are written clearly, but they don't always get called. I'm not saying the Tom Wilson hit was a penalty. I think it was as clean could be. It was just big. And that's me calling it as unbiasedly as I can. But you guys go down below in the comments. Let me know how you feel about it. You guys always do when I give you an opinion on a big hit. The next big thing of the game I want to highlight was Ivan Demidov. What an absolute stud of a player. That power play out there, if you were in Canada, you saw the graphic. Old man Nick Suzuki, the oldest guy in the power play at 25 years young. That's wild. Well, this guy has an absolutely bright future. I said in the first preview when we took a look at him, he's more of a passer than he is a shooter. And he is a good shooter as well, too. But he's going to work so well with Martin St. Louis. They remind me a lot of each other. St. Louis was excellent at feeding the biscuit. Great passer. He fakes this shot. Goalie bites. Toe drag. Say it with me. What's your favorite type of dragon? It's a toe dragon. Demidov will continue around the net here, and that toe drag and that fake shot opens up everything. As he comes around, he goes looking for my favorite Habs, Slafkovsky. He finds him. Slafkovsky buries that goal. They had no chance on that power play. No chance on the penalty kill. But that's where I think LaBelle Province, the Habs fans thought, we got him. This game is going to be ours because that was the first goal for Montreal. In the first 10 minutes of this game, Washington threw every trick they could at them. Were the calls great? Nope. I didn't like the calls at all in this game. Irrelevant. Montreal survived it. Montreal ends up with a 5-on-3 that they incredibly survive. Life and limb thrown at the puck, and full credit to Montreal, 0 credit to Washington. You should score on a 5-on-3. The percentage on that is through the roof, but they get outplayed. Another big momentum switcher is the power play, and here's a second one here. They were talking about this at the intermission break, so you might have heard this before if you're on the Canadian broadcast, but with Laine being benched and out, and this has happened before with him in Winnipeg, it's happened in Columbus. Like I said, the guy, I love him. I got a signed Laine jersey in the closet. He's a one-trick pony, but it's the best trick. So these two here, Hutson and Caufield, they work on the one-timer. They talk all about trying to make that go tape to tape, and Laine is such a weapon on this, but Caufield, quite the player, bang, ends up sneaking it through. The interesting thing about having a power play like this without Laine is you have so much more movement and you have so much more dynamic things that you can do on it. But that shot is almost unguardable as well too. So I think you're safe to go either direction you want to go. I understand wanting to have some guys like Jack Guy and Anderson, Caufield take that spot, just other combinations. I get it. Laine is a very polarizing player. He's a very popular player. He's a great person. But you're trying to win a series, and St. Louis knows what he's doing. So great work there by Hutson and Caufield. Now, speaking of Lane Hutson, I thought he had an absolutely electric night. I think he did everything that would have been asked for from a player like him. But we have to turn our attention to the Washington Capitals here as well, too, especially Alexander Ovechkin. He may not have potted any goals tonight, but he was running around like a human wrecking ball. Here he is lining up Carrier. He has him. He's going to miss him, ends up in the bench. This is one of those moments that looks amazing if you're a Habs fan and amazing if you're the Habs team. But he's a tough customer as he ends up out of the bench. I wish there was a bit of a look here. He gives a word to him. He pretends to kind of give whack to a Carrier. Carrier skates away. Really interesting play in the game because it was these mental mind games that happened over and over and over again from the Washington Capitals. And it's too bad if you're a Habs fan that they paid off, but it's a bright spot if you're a Capitals fan if they paid off. And it's why they are the team they are. They're big, they're nasty, they play hockey the way they want to play hockey, and they have the skill to make you pay for it. And that first goal shows a big example of that wily veteran presence. It's a giveaway here by Hutson. Okay, mistakes happen, you're a young player. Skates with Beauvillier and uses that speed of his to catch up. He's quicker than him. He takes a really nice angle here. There's a lot of times a player back here, when they're behind a player, end up reaching in, but he doesn't reach in. He just takes that nice angle. As the body leans in and picks it up, it's just unfortunate that he ends up catching Cole Caufield here, because what that is going to do is that is going to leave an open Dylan Strome to put it in the back of the net. And if you're Suzuki, which way do you go? I mean, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. You kind of got to stay between both of them here. So unfortunately, that little giveaway by Hutson, as hard as he works to get it and get it back, he gets out-muscled by Beauvillier here in the end. He may be faster, but that's a big, strong character guy coming in there. Beauvillier can't finish it. Beautiful save by Dobe. Puts it in the back of the net late to Strome. And I think over time that's going to get significantly better for Montreal, but that is the bread and butter of the Washington Capitals and why they are so scary. They just do everything the right way. They are relentless on the forecheck, and regardless of the name on the back of the jersey, whether you think it's good, bad, overrated, or indifferent, it doesn't matter. They are effective hockey players and a very effective hockey team. Their third goal to end up winning it, well, sometimes your goalie just has to have this one. That's how I feel about this one. You can't give any flack to the backup goalie, young kid who's in there. It's a little bit of a you take them, I take them. They get caught up. Goalie gets tripped up here, and now it's just Mangiapane alone. There's nothing wrong with this gap here or backing in as far as he did, because this is the final player that has to play between two players. He's between Ovechkin and he's between Mangiapane. As he ends up skating in, he sees the screen. He goes down for the one-legged block. That's going to give a tiny of screen here to Dobe, but really it isn't that much. It's just a wicked shot that ends up beating him glove side. And that's a tough one, but that's one that's just born out of sheer grit. This is a team that doesn't panic. This is a team that wants to go all the way to the Stanley Cup. This is a team that has an easier path than some divisions on the way to the Stanley Cup. Not calling the Habs easy, just saying good luck playing in the Central. And even up north where the Leafs, the Panthers, and the Bolts are playing, I'd rather play the Habs and possibly the Canes than I would go through that division. So this is a team that has quite the advantage heading into the playoffs, and they should. They were number one in the East. They were calm, they were cool, they were collected. They outshot Montreal the entire time, and even the entire pressure of the Bell Center raining down on them did not rattle this team. They took penalties, they tried things. When it didn't work, they made adjustments. And then finally, at the end, they just found a way to win. And that's the way hockey games go and the way playoffs go. Now Montreal is going to be put to the ultimate test. This has happened before. They were down to the Leafs. I get it. It's the Leafs. I got it. These guys aren't the Leafs, but they were down 3-1 to the Leafs, and they were able to come back. And on that run, they walked all the way to the Stanley Cup. So it is possible to come back down from 3-1, but they're going to have a lot of work to do in Washington, and they're going to have to find a balance between staying out of the box, baiting Washington into the box, capitalizing on their chances, and keeping that veteran-heavy team away from their goaltender. We'll see if they can do it in the next game. I got a lot of hope for Montreal in the future. My hope for them in this series is dwindling. It doesn't mean I think they're out of it, but there's more to give. The big question in the next game will be who gets to play in the lineup? What do you do with Jack-Eye Anderson and the Tom Wilson brouhaha? How is Marty St. Louis and the Habs going to handle that? And what are they going to do to stay alive in this series? The question for Washington is, how do they put the dagger in and twist? How do they make sure this series is over in the next game at home? Washington is a team that usually keeps games close. They play methodically, and they're not afraid to play down one goal. So I do expect the next game to be decided within a goal. I get this one's 5-2, but 2 empty net goals, we don't count those. It was a 3-2 game the whole way, and at one point Montreal had the lead. But the calm, cool, collected veterans of Washington made sure they took that one home in the Bell Center. Okay, guys, we'll catch you in the next one. Comment down below. Take a look at the Discord link. It's available if you want to chat with Coach Ryan D. Keep going through the playoffs. See you next time.